Welcome once again to Gilbert and Sullivan Radio Theatre. This is your host, Jerry Tracy, inviting you to join us as we survey all 14 of the comic opera masterpieces of Gilbert and Sullivan in chronological order. Our musical highlights are drawn from the vast radio theater collection, and our dialogue excerpts feature our own beloved KBCS players. Well, players, we've reached the second episode of The Grand Duke.
Yay!
All right, let's review the plot so far, shall we?
Is that a rhetorical question?
As we learned in the first episode, a troupe of actors and actresses under the direction of one Ernest Dumkopf have plotted to overthrow the miserly, penny-pinching, obnoxious little tyrannical... Grand Duke Rudolph. The conspirators plan to replace Grand Duke Rudolph with their own manager, Ernest Dumkopf. The conspirators have planned their plot with insidious cleverness. Their secret sign to identify one another? They eat a sausage roll.
Yeah, that gets real tired real quick.
But even the best-laid plans of actors and actresses sometimes go astray. A somewhat dull-witted member of the troupe,
I resent that.
Ludwig, whom for some reason the delightful actress Lisa loves dearly,
Darling.
My dear.
bungles their plans horribly by accidentally exposing the plot to the Grand Duke Rudolph's chief detective.
Stupid idiot.
All is lost for the little company until the attorney, Dr. Tannhauser, suggests a solution, a statutory duel.
A what? A statutory duel. A simple answer.
Yes, you see, under an old law set to expire the next day, gentlemen may settle affairs of honor by picking cards rather than shooting pistols. It is decided that Ludwig and Ernest will have a statutory duel, and that the survivor will confess all to the Grand Duke, avoid prosecution by turning state's evidence, and so live.
Hooray! But what happens to the loser?
Well, the loser dies a civil death.
Ew.
Well, he simply ceases to exist. His responsibilities are taken over by the winner, and he is free to return to life the next day at the expiration of the act. But I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, players, so get back into your little costumes, and let's get right back to the action, shall we?
I see. The man who draws the lowest card
dies, ipso facto, a social death.
Oh.
You mean he doesn't really die?
My dear girl, of course not. He merely dies a theoretical death.
Theoretical.
Oh. Is it painful?
He loses all his civil rights. His identity disappears. The revising barrister expunges his name from the list of voters, and the winner takes his place, whatever it may be, discharges all his functions, and adopts all his responsibilities.
Well, this is all very well as far as it goes, but it only protects one of us. What's to become of the survivor?
Yes, that's an interesting point, because I might be the
I
survivor.
don't think so.
The survivor goes at once to the Grand Duke, and in a burst of remorse denounces the dead man as the moving spirit of the plot. He is accepted as the king's evidence, and as a matter of course receives a free pardon.
Oh!
Tomorrow, when the law expires, the
That's
dead
very
man
cool.
will,
I like that.
ipso facto, come to life again. The revising barrister will restore his name to the list of voters, and he will resume all of his obligations as though nothing unusual had happened at all.
Oh, Robert.
Very well
Then
Well.
he will be at once arrested, tried, and executed on the evidence of the informer. Candidly, my friend, I don't think much of your plot.
No.
That is a problem.
Dear, 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 the ignorance of the laity.
What did you call me?
My good lady, you are a laity. It is a beautiful maxim of our glorious Constitution that a man can only die once. Death expunges a crime, and when he comes to life again, it will be with a clean slate, a completely clean slate.
Well, it's all really very, very ingenious.
My dear sir, we owe you our lives.
May I kiss him?
hope so.
You may not. Certainly not. You're a big girl now. Well, miscreant, are you prepared to meet me on the field of honor?
At once! By Jove, what a couple of fire eaters we are!
Ludwig doesn't know what fear is.
Oh, I don't mind this sort of duel.
It's not like a duel with swords. I hate a duel with swords. It's not the blade I mind, it's the blood.
Oh, and I hate dueling with pistols. It's not the ball I mind, it's the bang.
Well, as you see, altogether it is a great improvement on the old method of giving satisfaction.
It is that.
At the end of this nice little quintet,
Oh, thank you.
Ernest and Ludwig prepare to meet on the field of statutory combat. Of course, it's not a real duel.
We understand that already. Get on with it.
Well, good. I guess we've made that point. Well, Ernest draws first.
A king!
Next, Ludwig.
Ha! An ace!
And the lawyer appoints himself as trustee to hold the two young ladies. Not too closely, if you please, as we hear in the next charming quintet sing diamonds, clubs, and hearts and spades. Exit Ludwig, the winner,
Hooray!
Ernest, the loser,
Oh.
and the lawyer with both young ladies.
Come along with me. I'd like to show you my depositions and maybe an affidavit or two.
I've got your deposition right here, you nasty little boy.
And now the chorus of villagers heralds the arrival of our comic baritone,
Oh, do I finally get to enter?
the Grand Duke Rudolph, who is, to put it bluntly, not the most generous of souls. In fact, he is so tight with his millions that it pains him deeply even to purchase food, as we shall hear.
Oh, well, if you ever let me enter, you shall hear, yes.
Chorus, please.
My Lord Chamberlain, as you are aware, my marriage with the wealthy Baroness von Krakenfeld will take place tomorrow.
No.
Yes, and you will be good enough to see that the rejoicings are on a scale of unusual liberality.
Liberality.
Yes, pass that on, please. Good day to you, sir. Good day to you, sir.
The Chamberlain bows and finally exits, leaving Rudolph quite alone.
Ah, bah. I don't feel at all comfortable. I hope I'm not doing a foolish thing in getting married. After all, it's a poor heart that never rejoices. And this wedding of mine is the first little treat I've allowed myself since my christening. Besides, Caroline's income is very considerable, and as her ideas of economy are quite on par with mine, it ought to turn out well. Bless her tough old heart. She's a mean little darling. Oh, here she is, punctual to her appointment.
And there enters the Baroness von Krakenfeld.
Rudolph! Why, what's the matter?
Caroline! Why, I'm not quite myself, my pet. I'm a little worried and upset. Oh, I want a tonic. It's a low diet, I think. I'm afraid, after all, I shall have to take the bull by the horns and have an egg with my breakfast.
Oh, I shouldn't do anything rash, dear. Begin with a jujube.
Great, I'll save it for supper.
He sits by her and tries to put his arm round her rather large waist.
Rudolph, don't! What in the world are you thinking of?
Oh, I was thinking of embracing you, my sugar plum. Just a little cheap treat.
What, here? In public? Really, you appear to have no sense of delicacy.
Oh, no sense of delicacy, Bonbon?
No, I can't make you out. When you courted me, all your courting was done publicly in the marketplace. And when you proposed to me, you proposed in the marketplace.
Yes.
And now that we're engaged, you seem to desire that our first tete-a-tete shall occur in the marketplace. Surely you have a room in your palace with blinds that would do?
But, my own, I can't help myself. I am bound by my own decree.
Your own decree?
Yes. You see, all the houses that give on the marketplace belong to me. But the drains, which date back to the reign of Charlemagne, wanted tending to, and I couldn't afford a hotel. So, with a view to increasing the value of the property, I decreed that all love episodes between affectionate couples should take place in public, on this spot, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, when the band doesn't play.
Bless me! What a happy idea! And so moral, too! And have you found it works?
Works. Works. The rent has gone up 50%, and the sale of opera glasses, which is a Grand Ducal monopoly, has received an extraordinary stimulus.
Sure.
So,
that's
under the
good.
circumstances, would you allow me to put my arm around your voluptuous waist? As a source of income.
But
Oh,
it's
just
so
once.
very embarrassing. Think of the opera glasses.
Oh, my good girl, that's just what I'm thinking of. Hang it all! We must give them something for their money. Oh, what is that?
She unfolds a paper which contains a large letter which she hands to the Grand Duke.
It's a letter from which your detective asked me to hand to you. I wrapped it up in yesterday's paper to keep it clean.
Oh, let me see that.
Oh.
Oh, bum, it's only his report. That'll keep. But I say, you've never been and bought a newspaper?
Oh, my dear Rudolph, do you think I'm mad? It came wrapped around my breakfast.
I thought you were not the sort of girl to go and buy a newspaper. Well, as we've got it, we may as well read it. What does it say?
Why, dear me, here's your biography. Our detested despot.
Yes, I fancy that refers to me.
And it says, oh, it can't be.
What can't be?
Why, it says that although you're going to marry me tomorrow, you were betrothed in infancy to the Princess of Monte Carlo.
Oh, yes, that's quite right. Caroline, didn't I mention that?
Mention it. You never said a word about it.
Well, it doesn't matter because, you see, it's practically off.
Practically off?
Yes. By the terms of the contract, the betrothal is void unless the princess marries before her 18th birthday. Now, her father, the prince, is stony broke and hasn't left his house for years for fear of arrest. Over and over he has again implored me to come to him and be married, but in vain. Over and over again he has implored me to advance the money to enable the princess to come to me, but in vain. I am very young, but not as young as that, and as the princess comes of age at 2 tomorrow, why, at 2 tomorrow I am a free man.
Oh!
So I appointed that hour for our wedding, as I shall like to have as much marriage as I can get for my money.
I see. Of course. If the married state is a happy state, it's a pity to waste any of it.
Oh, why, my little muffin, every hour we delayed I should lose a lot of you, and you would lose a lot of me.
My thoughtful darling.
Oh, yes.
Oh, Rudolph, we ought to be very happy.
Oh, I am. Rub me behind the ear. Oh, if I'm not, it will be my first bad investment. Still, there is such a thing as a slump, even in matrimonials.
I often picture us in the long, cold, dark December evenings, sitting close to each other and singing impassioned duets to keep us warm, and thinking of all the lovely things we could afford to buy if we chose,
Spin.
and at the same time planning out our lives in a spirit of the most rigid and exacting economy.
Ditto. It's a most beautiful and touching picture of connubial bliss at its highest and most rarefied development.
The Baroness exits, leaving Rudolph alone to his thoughts.
Oh, now for my detective's report.
He opens the letter.
What's this? Another conspiracy? A conspiracy to depose me? And my private detective was so convulsed with laughter at the notion of a conspirator selecting him for a confidant that he was physically unable to arrest the malefactor. Why, it'll come off. And the plot has exploded tomorrow. My wedding day. Oh, Caroline. This is perfectly frightful. What is to be done? I don't know. I ought to keep cool and think, but you can't think when your veins are full of hot soda water and your brain's fizzing like a firework and all your faculties are jumbled in a perfect whirlpool of dumbligation.
And at this point, the Grand Duke Rudolph sings the very last patter song ever penned by Gilbert and Sullivan.
The last one.
There.
Oh, be quiet, you sobbing plebe. Stick a sock in it.
At the end of his patter song, the Grand Duke sinks exhausted and weeping at the foot of the well. Ludwig enters.
Now for my confession and full pardon. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Grand Duke. They told me that the Grand Duke was dancing duets in the marketplace, but I don't see him. So I'm off. Hello, who's this? Why, it is the Grand Duke.
Who are you, sir, who presumes to address me in person? If you have anything to communicate, you must fling yourself at the feet of my acting temporary sub-deputy assistant vice-chamberlain, who will fling himself at the feet of his immediate superior, and so on, with successive foot-flingings through various grades. Your communication will, in course of time, come to my august knowledge.
But when I inform your highness that in me you see the most unhappy, the most unfortunate, the most completely miserable man in the whole domain.
You, the most miserable man in my whole dominion? How can you have the face to stand there and say such a dreadful thing? Why, look at me. Look at me!
Well, I wouldn't be a crybaby about it.
A crybaby? If you had just been told that you were going to be deposed tomorrow, or perhaps blown up with dynamite for all I know, wouldn't you be a crybaby?
Oh, that.
I do declare, if I could only hit upon some cheap and painless method of putting an end to my existence, which has become insupportable, I would unhesitatingly adopt it.
You would?
Yes?
I see a magnificent way out of this. By Jupiter, I'll try it. Are you, by any chance, in earnest?
In earnest? Why, look at me.
If you are really in earnest, if you really desire to escape scot-free from this unspeakably horrible catastrophe without trouble, danger, pain, or expense, why not resort to a statutory duel?
A statutory duel?
Yes. The act is still in force, but it will expire tomorrow afternoon. You fight, you lose, you are dead for a day. Tomorrow, when the act expires, you will come to life again and resume your grand duchy as though nothing had happened. In the meantime, the explosion will have taken place and the survivor will have to bear the brunt of it.
Yes, well, that's all very well, but who'll be fool enough to be the survivor?
Actuated by an overwhelming sense of attachment to your grand ducal person. Ow. I am hesitatingly offer myself as the victim of your subject's fury.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Well, really, that's very handsome. I dare say being blown up is not nearly as unpleasant as one would think.
Oh, yes, it is. It mixes one up awfully.
But suppose I were to lose?
Oh, that's easily arranged.
Ludwig produces a pack of cards.
I'll put an ace up my sleeve. You'll put a king up yours. When the drawing takes place, I shall seem to draw the higher card and you the lower. And there you are.
Oh, but that's cheating.
Oh, so it is. I never thought of that.
And he starts to
Goodbye.
leave.
Well, no, not that I mind, but I say you won't take an unfair advantage of your day of office?
How do you mean?
Oh, you won't go tipping people or squandering my little savings in fireworks or any nonsense of that sort?
I am hurt. Really hurt by the suggestion.
You wouldn't like to put down a deposit, perhaps?
No, I don't think I should like to put down a deposit.
Or to give a guarantee?
A guarantee would be equally open to objection.
It would be more regular. Very well, I suppose you must have your own way.
Good. I say, we must have a devil of a quarrel.
Oh, a devil of a quarrel.
Just to give colour to the thing. Shall I give you a sound thrashing before all the people? Say the word, it's no trouble.
No, I think not. That would be very convincing, and it's extremely good and thoughtful of you to suggest it. Still, a devil of a quarrel.
Oh, a devil of a quarrel.
No half measures.
No.
Big words, strong language, rude remarks. Oh, a devil of a quarrel.
Now the question is, how shall we summon the people?
Oh, there's no difficulty about that. Bless your heart, they've been staring at us through these windows for the last half hour.
Oh, I feel so naked.
Well, we very much thank you for joining us for this episode of The Grand Duke, or The Statutory Duel. Our thanks as well to the very talented KBCS players. And for this production of The Grand Duke, we feature Jeff Hogan as Grand Duke Rudolph, Jerry Tracy as Ernest Dimkopf, John Moore as Ludwig, John Price as the lawyer Dr. Tannhauser, Dan Reinking as the Prince of Monte Carlo, Deanne Odom as the Princess of Monte Carlo, Penny Vracopoulos as the Baroness von Krakenfeld. As Julia Jellicoe, we heard Meredith Hunt, and as Lisa, Deanne Odom. This is your host, Jerry Tracy. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, John Moore. And inviting you to join us next time.